Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which I'm going to explain some video editing basics. You will learn how to use the canvas and timeline to make basic edits to your video. Now, let's talk about the timeline, which is this area. In Camtasia, videos are created on the timeline, moving sequentially from left to right. This is where you arrange and edit your screen recordings, audio clips, titles, and more. The timeline is organized into layers, and as you can see, this is the track 1. And basically, you can say that this is layer 1. Here you can have layer 2, and let's import one of our videos. Okay, let's import 2 of our recordings, of our screen recordings, like the ones that we made in the previous lesson. Now, this is the first one, and as you can see, the layer 1 has the video and layer 2 has the audio. Now, if you drag another one, you can see now we have layer 3 and layer 4. Now, again, the timeline is organized into layers and they are called tracks, where media on the top layer cover the ones below. And as you can see, we can only see one of them. If we move this, then we can see this one, and then we can move to this one. Now, let's talk about the canvas. The canvas is this area. As you build your project, the canvas is where you review your work. As the playhead moves along, which is this is called a playhead. As you move this playhead along the timeline, everything at that point is displayed on the canvas. And as you can see, this is our canvas. The canvas is also a working area where you position, resize, and rotate content. It's good to note that everything that's shown on the canvas is produced in the final video. So if you are seeing this, it means that this will appear on the final video. Now, as you can see, this is the second project video on layer number 3. Now, to resize it, you can simply drag and drop. And if you want to go back to this one on layer 1, which is this video, as you can see, when you select it, it's selected on the timeline. Now you can also resize it. Now we can show both of them at the same time on our screen. As you can see, this is the layer 1 and layer 3. Now layer 2 has the audio, and we don't want audio at this point. So we can simply, if you want to remove any of the layers, you can select it and hit the delete button. Now, if you want to move these, if you want to move this from layer 3 to layer 2, you can simply use your left mouse click and drag it and drop it here on layer 2. Now we have 2 layers. Now, as you can see, you can change the size by simply clicking on the edges on these circular points. Now, let's say that I want to cut this area from my video and keep the rest. Now, you must go here to the crop tool. Now, as you can see, now it has a circular or a rectangle or a square form instead of the circular form in the move and scale tool. Now, if you click here again, you can simply choose exactly which area do you want to show from your recording. Now, let's say that I want to show this area, and now as you can see, we won't show the whole screen, we will just show this area. And if we went back to the mouse cursor, we can scale it up or down. As you can see. Now, if you want to undo this, you can go back here and show everything. Now, if you want to move around, you can simply do this. And since we have the canvas at this size, you can zoom in to the canvas at 300% and move around using this hand. If you want to see exactly, or if you want to see the whole thing in your canvas, you can click here and select fit. Now you can see everything, and this is how your video would look. Now, if you want to remove a mistake from your timeline, to remove a mistake or unwanted section of a recording, you can drag a handle on the playhead to make a selection and click cut. So let's say that we want to remove this area. Click cut and it will be removed. This removes the selection and moves all media to the left to fill the space, and as you can see, we don't have a space because this media was moved to the left. Now, to replace a mistake with a new recording, you can make a selection, let's say this one, using the playhead, and hit the delete key. This removes the selected media and leaves space on the timeline for a new recording. So you can go back here and hit the record button and record a new clip, and it will be automatically added here. Now, to create space on the timeline, in case you don't have room, now let's undo this. If you want the selection of the playhead to be removed and you don't want to remove anything, as you can see, the playhead is separated from the handles. Double click the playhead and they will stick to the handle. Okay, now sometimes you need to add media to the timeline, but there is no room. As you can see, we want to add an intro here, but there is no room to add this intro. To create space on the timeline, you can move the playhead, which is this one. Select the clips. Move the playhead and select the clip that you want to add more space to. And let's say that we want to add more space here at this location. Now click the S button from your keyboard. And as you can see, once you click the S button, it did split this clip into two clips. Now you can simply drag this right here and add anything in this area. Now there is another way to do it. Let's undo this. You can select it and right click the playhead and choose split selected, and it will also split this. Now let's say that you want to split an area on all of the tracks or layers. You can simply do that. Okay, by simply moving your playhead to the area and right click and select split all. Split all will split all the clips that you have on your timeline. Again, this is the timeline and this is the canvas. Now, if you want to trim a media, to remove extra footage or fine-tune media, you can click and drag the end of a clip in. Now let's say that we have this and we want to cut from here to here. You can simply drag it to this point. This is called trimming, and if you trim too much, simply drag the clip back to restore your video. And as you can see, your video is back. Now once you trim it, it will go black and your video will end here. If you want to restore it, as you can see, it's back. Now, if you want to zoom the timeline so that you can edit things in a more accurate way, you can fine-tune your editing by zooming in using the zoom in slider. As you can see, this is me zooming out, and as you can see, I can see the whole clip, about 10 or 11 minutes of content. Now, if you zoom too much or want to see your project in full, you can simply drag this to the left side. Now, if you want to see your project in details, as you can see, here we only see from 11:34 to 11:38. So we are only looking at 4 seconds of our content. And as you can see, when you want to move in your timeline, it will take a lot of time to go from the beginning to the end. Okay, I usually leave it in the middle, as you can see, right there. Now, if you are doing measure cuts, you can decrease it and you can easily add the cuts. Otherwise, you can zoom in to fine-tune editing. That's it for this lesson. What we have introduced here is video editing basics. Now, in the next lesson, we are going to discuss the video editing basics regarding the canvas. We try to cover most of the basic things on the timeline, but that's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. This is Ashraf from Coding Academy.